doubt Rube knew they were going to win this game the whole time.
Just like we kind of figured it would play out. Give up a touchdown as regulation ends and win in overtime. That's how I drew it up.
Yeah, exactly. 34-31. The Eagles win this one. They beat the Commanders. They moved to 4-0 on the season. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Some tense moments toward the end of this game. It should not have been this close. It was. They won it. You can look at it a few different ways, I guess.
Yeah, and look, we just argued about this on the post-game show. With on 2nd and 4, I mean, it was a beautiful touchdown pass Jalen threw to AJ. It was a wonderful play. The way I was born and raised is that you get the 4 yards there, you kick a field goal and run out the clock. Even if you don't get the 4 yards, you still kick a field goal. Sam Howell was playing well. He had some momentum. He was confident. No matter who the quarterback is, I don't want to give him a minute and a half to drive down the field and win the game, or tie the game, I should say, potentially win it if they go for 2. Riverboat Ron would have gone for 2, but I think he feels like they have a better team. And just let's try to tie it. But
that was the wrong decision, by the way.
To kick it.
He should have gone for 2.
Oh, I agree. And Riverboat Ron would have done that a few years ago.
What happened to him?
He's gotten conservative.
Yeah.
I think he feels like we have a better team now, so I don't have to do that kind of stuff. But it's the wrong call.
No, you're an inferior team. You shouldn't be in this game.
Totally agree.
You have a chance to win it. You take it.
But I also feel strongly that Nick or Brian Johnson, whoever decided to, call a double move into the end zone, beautiful play, they didn't need it. And they gave Washington too much time, and Sam Howell took advantage of it. Played better than I ever dreamed he would the whole game. I kept waiting for him to come back down to earth, especially after what happened with the Buffalo game last week. But he stood tall and it was a great drive at the end of the game to tie it. I have full confidence in this running attack, this O-line, to be able to get 4 yards, get the first down, run the clock down to 0-1 and send Jake Elliott out there for would have been about a 42-yard field goal, I think. Even if you don't get it, it's still a 45-yard field goal. I have a lot more faith in him making that kick with no time left than my defense, who's been struggling the whole game, stopping Sam Howell in that instance.
I get that. I should point out they were going toward the open side of the end zone, which is normally a little tougher.
You take that into account.
The 54-yarder he hit was going the other way, to the closed side. But it was a kind of a crazy sequence of events because you finally had the defense get a big stop. Maybe that factored into it too. Like maybe their confidence was higher. It was an impressive series of events because you had a great punt from Braden Mann. Finally hit a good one. Gets them down. Pinned deep into their own territory.
To the 11, maybe?
Yeah. And then you had, all the way down to the 7.
7.
Yeah, it was a great punt. And then a few plays later, you have Hassan Reddick getting on the board with his first sack. And he really had a few plays in a row where he was taking over the game, which was good to see.
Yeah.
And then you have the punt on the other side. Britton Covey gets a big return. And it's like all of a sudden you're like, man, this team is cooking. They're going to just pick up yards, kick a field goal, or score a touchdown late and win the game. And you're right. It happened too quick.
Yeah. What would you have done?
It's tough because it's not like that was the only possibility on that play.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
but I don't think that should even be an option. And like, even if you throw it underneath, I think Washington had one timeout.
Yeah, there was honestly a play earlier in that one to AJ where he went out of bounds.
Right.
I wonder if maybe he should. It was early still, so like maybe you don't kill him for going out of bounds there, but I thought maybe that was a good opportunity for him to stay in bounds and run the clock a little bit.
Yeah, I like taking the guesswork out of it. I like just, let's just run the clock. And this team's so good at that. And they've done that since Nick got here. I have so much faith in them to get a couple yards, to get 4 yards.
Yeah, so the
plays.
The earlier A.J. Brown was on 1st and 10 from the plus 44 after the 2-minute warning. 10-yard catch gets pushed out of bounds, but he could have fought to stay in bounds. Then you had the Swift run, and then the next play was the Hurts touchdown
So 2nd and
pass.
4 and a 28, I think. And there was, I'm sorry,
149
making paper noises. There was 149 left, and they had one timeout, and the 2-minute warning had already come and gone. So they could have, I mean, even if they didn't get the yards, you're running 2nd down and 3rd down, and then kicking on 4th down. There's not going to be any time left.
Yeah. And we didn't mention it yet, but the A.J. Brown taunting penalty was a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah, he can't do it. He raised his hand. I thought he was
accountable.
very accountable for it after. I thought it was a good sign that Jalen got after him on the sideline for it. That's what you want your leader to do.
He's got to know better.
He's got to know better. And those two have been
a rookie
getting into it. And the thing was, it was a rookie he was going against. So like a rookie got in his head. I know he beat him, obviously, and he had a great game. It just can't. Even if you think the rule is stupid, it's going to get called.
Right.
They've already watched you two jawing back and forth. And then so that sets up, it pushes them back 15 yards for the kickoff.
From the 20.
And then Washington gets the ball at the 35. So that's an 11-yard penalty, basically.
36, I think it might have been.
36, what did I say?
Yeah, 35.
Oh, 36. So it's an 11-yard penalty, basically.
Right. So.
And they needed all 11 of those yards. It was kind of tight there at the end.
Yeah.
And they I mean, I thought the clock was going to run out on that ball in the middle.
I think Nick did too.
Yeah.
He was like celebrating. I mean, there's 5 seconds
left.
left.
Score clock got to help you out a little bit, right?
5 seconds left. I mean, it was a quick play, but I'd have to go through it and time it.
I think their pass rush was, they blitzed, and I think they got there too quick, and Howell just had to get rid of it.
Yeah, could have been. He made some big throws down the stretch. And
I like Sam Howell. I don't know if he was ever going to be like a good starting quarterback.
I think he's like a tweener,
but I like him.
He showed a lot. He showed me a lot of kind of reminded me of Heineke. Like he's not super talented.
He scrambles a little bit too.
Yeah,
picked up that big first down.
Well, that one run on was like 3rd and 11 or something. He got like 20 yards.
It was funny. Their final numbers on 3rd down, they were 8 for 17. It felt like they were better than that. Like they were some big conversions.
So much like last year in a lot of ways. They wanted to do the same stuff: run the ball, control the clock, and they did it really well early. They wanted to convert 3rd downs, run the ball, control the clock, shorten the game, keep Jalen off the field, and it worked for a while.
Yeah,
and then the Eagles got going, and you thought, all right, this is it. They got them figured out. I think they scored 17 straight points, right? At one point, I'm just getting off. So they scored 3, 6, 9, and 7 is so they scored 16 straight points, right? There was 7. They were down 17-7, and then they were up 24-17. So 17-7, 24. So they scored 17 points. I'm sorry, I'm doing math on national TV here, but
national TV.
No, maybe not exactly. I thought they really took command of the game. And maybe Nick did too, and maybe that's why he trusted the defense. But to me, it's not about trust; it's about the numbers, the math, the odds. And I just think your odds are so much better if you just, I mean, it's basically what has a better chance of happening. Your defense stopping Sam Howell on a 64-yard drive in a minute 36, or Jake Elliott missing what would have been about at worst case scenario, assuming there's no sack and you're running the ball, so there wouldn't have been.
I don't know though. I don't think it's
42-yard field goal, which he hasn't missed in a year.
Yeah, I get that. I also think you didn't know you're going to get the taunting penalty, so you thought it's going to be 75 yards to drive, and it has to be a touchdown. You know what I mean? It's not like they can play for a field goal. It's tough to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Then overtime, defense did its job.
Yeah.
That Reed Blankenship play ends up in coverage on Terry McLaurin.
What did you think of that call? I thought they were going to overturn it.
Why?
Because it looked like there was green between his cleat and the sideline.
Oh, I didn't think so. Because his foot was on Reed's arm, Reed Blankenship's arm on his forearm, and it like carried his foot onto the chalk. So
I mean, from the replay we saw, and again, I'm watching the TV version. It looked like, I mean, his right foot was down clearly, and his left was coming down, and it looked like it landed right on the sideline, like right.
Well, the replay I saw, it was very clearly like
okay.
Part of it was on green, but the other part was on white. It was clearly out.
All right. I mean, they obviously agreed, so. but that could have been
some weird forearms.
disastrous.
Win this game for the Eagles. You had that Reed Blankenship one earlier in the game. Devontae Smith makes that acrobatic catch, and the reason was because his arm just ended up under the ball and never hit the ground.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought that was a turning point in the game because it was. I mean, I don't know how many yards would that third down play have been in overtime. That would have gotten them like around midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean they were that close, but yeah, the defense
they stop him, and then my guy Tress Way has an awful punt.
Terrible punt.
Yeah, 29-yard punt.
Your guy.
I claim Tress Way.
It's Dave's favorite player.
Yeah, I see Tress Way twice a year. Not a good punt.
You guys vacation together.
Sets up the Eagles. They moved down the field, and once they got that pass in the middle of the field, you're like, okay, they're in field goal range. They're going to win this game.
Yeah.
What did you make of that intentional grounding?
Well, that's the correct call. And
such a weird call, though.
Yeah, I remember talking to one of the officials at training camp, not this summer, but last summer. I mean, the way the rule is written, it doesn't matter, like, if you're, you spike it or throw it out. I mean, like, it's just if you're throwing it away to stop the clock, it's intentional grounding. They just never call that.
He wasn't.
I think he was.
I don't think he was.
You think it was a miscommunication?
Yeah, it was miscommunication between him and AJ.
Well, if that's the case, it's a bad call.
I thought it was like a clear miscommunication.
But I mean, I think the ref should, if that's the case. I mean, look,
it's tricky because you're getting into intent. Which is,
and you better be sure the intent is to stop the clock there, which there really wasn't a reason for him to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're under pressure, like, I guess he was under some pressure.
A little bit, but it was 2nd and 6 from the 34. That's a big penalty.
Yeah, it was.
Pushes you back to the 45 and takes you out of field goal range. Then it's like you got to pick up yards.
Yeah, so that knocked him back to the
45.
To the 45. And then and then that sweet pass to Devontae. Jalen had some good throws on that drive.
I thought look, when you want to start getting into the offense a little bit.
Yeah. And but one thing I was just I think the first play of overtime, it was a short pass to AJ. I just think it's so important in overtime on first down to just start off with something positive like that. It got him out to midfield. Now you're thinking, I mean, they only need, you're
about in Jake's range.
You just a few more yards, and to have a weapon like that. He's made 7 of his last 8 from 54 yards.
He's unreal.
It's crazy. He's so clutch. We'll talk about him, but I mean, I thought the offense did some really good things. It was a frustrating day at times. They got off to a slow start a little bit. Well, they scored on the first drive, but it was just, I felt like they could score anytime they had the ball. It's the first time this year I felt like, and they didn't run the ball great.
No, but I'll tell you what, DeAndre Swift is good.
He's really good.
You just watch him, and it's different than Kenny Gainwell. That one play, that little pass in overtime where he turns the corner, I was watching that going, man, like Kenny doesn't make that play.
No, he doesn't. Kenny did a nice job on that 2-point conversion.
He did.
That was a big play. Huge play as it turned out. But yeah, Swift is he's special, and they shut him down a little bit. I don't say shut him down, but they slowed him down. He didn't have a huge game, but
did you take in Nick after the game?
Yeah.
What did he say about the decision making toward the end of the game?
He said, "I'm never going to apologize for scoring a touchdown."
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't like the 3rd and 11 either, the Gainwell run.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that. I hated that call more than the other one. But that's beside the point. But I mean, he defended it, and
okay, it's his right.
Yeah, it's his right. I still disagree vociferously. But I thought Jalen looked better than he has.
His best game of the year.
Yeah, no turnovers, which is huge because a game like this.
Yeah, one turnover.
It's over. I thought he made some really big throws. Got the ball down the field. I think he had 4 completions of 20 yards or more. Got the ball in the end zone. Just kept throwing to AJ. It's like they're not going to stop him.
It's a good idea.
He's got 300 yards.
They had the rookie traveling with him.
Yeah, they did. Well,
he's given up like 70 pounds.
I know. And it struck me today. AJ plays wide receiver like he's a linebacker. He was so physical with him. But he is every week. But it just really kind of jumped out at me today just how how physical he plays that position. It's rare.
He got 165-pound,
but he does that against everybody.
I know. That's
he's
why
just,
it's just such a mismatch.
T.O. is that way. T.O. played the game that same way.
He has like Debo does.
Yeah.
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like just becomes a running back.
I mean, AJ's playing at a
at
a level like.
Did you look up 130 back to back?
Yes, Macklin, right?
Macklin in 14.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure. I knew we'd both look that up.
Yeah,
and but it's the most yards in a 2-game span since Macklin in 14.
Brown.
Since Bryce Brown. But yeah, I think Deshaun, 300 yards in 2 games. Deshaun did it. Quick did it. Harold Jackson did it. The span finder only goes back to 1970, so I'm sure Tommy McDonald did it. But he's playing at a level like and the crazy thing is, like, next week it could be Devontae.
And Devontae, like, he still finished with 7 for 78. It's not like he had a bad game. He had some big catches.
That one he skied for was just.
He's really good on those 50-50 balls. He has no business being as good at 50-50 balls as he is.
And he takes such a pounding when he lands on those, and he just pops up. I don't know how his back can take it, but his ability to high point the ball and control it and to come down with the ball and not lose it. I mean, he got clobbered.
Yeah, and he rightly got them up to the line because he was like, I don't know. But then Washington called a timeout and then they reviewed the play.
Yeah.
But he caught it.
Yeah, he did. I don't know how, but this team has had decades where they didn't have one good receiver. They have these 2 guys at the same time, and they're both young. And they both have this great rapport with the quarterback. I mean,
even though Olamide only had 1 catch today, it was a big one. It was right after his drop, and Jalen went right back to him and fired that ball.
It was a bad drop. It was Oh, he did fire. I loved his blocking on AJ's first touchdown.
Very smartly didn't get anyone in the back. AJ set him up.
Yeah, AJ, and I think Devontae was down there too, but it looked like OZ really sprung him those last few yards. I think when AJ caught it, OZ is so fast. AJ caught it at like the 22. OZ was at the 40.
Yeah.
But by the time AJ was down inside the 5, OZ was in front of him. So, because AJ was kind of weaving around.
I'll tell you what, didn't love the if I were the Commanders, that rookie going up on the big board for accountability. Emmanuel Forbes did not look interested in trying to tackle AJ Brown on that.
Yeah, that's true.
He was just like lollygagging the whole time. Ends up like taking this circuitous route around. Like,
he's not going to make Forbes' list of top 100 Forbes.
No.
But AJ's just so good. And, his first couple of games, I know he was a little not happy. But you're not going to hold him down.
Yeah. And I like what they did. They came out on the first drive, got him involved. I think that's a really important thing for him, especially. Get him the football early.
I'm going to tell Goddard, you want the ball, you got to cause a scene, and they'll give you the next,
Yeah, that's the one thing. Goddard had 2 for 25. He has not been a big part of this offense.
Yeah. Blocking well, of course. And the one he made was that 117-yarder that was a really great catch there.
What do you make of that? Because we always say, one day, but we're 4 weeks into this and he hasn't had a big game yet.
Is he open?
I have to go back and really watch from this game.
I'm not sure how much he's open. I know Jaws thinks that he's just not separating like he has in the past. I'd have to really study that. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to watch the tape on that because you can't really see.
Yeah. But he said that's something that he's noticed from watching the coach's tape, which he has access to. So I don't know. I know he's blocking at a really high level. But it's crazy. What's he got, like 80 yards all year?
Yeah. It's a little,
it's concerning.
A little bit. Yeah. Like this offense needs him to be a big contributor at some point.
Yeah. It's last week OZ had the 58 yards, but it's really just like in the passing game today. He was their 3rd leading receiver.
It was Goddard with 25 yards.
Yeah. And AJ and Devontae had 253.
Yeah.
The percentage of their yards that those 2 guys have this year, it's got to be 90%. Swift had 23. I'd still like to throw to him more. Gainwell had a couple short catches, and OZ had the 1 for 11 yards. But it's 2 guys. It would make it a lot easier for Jalen if a third guy kind of manifests himself. Maybe Quez when he comes back, but we haven't seen it from him in a long time.
Yeah. He's missed 2 games now.
Maybe the new tight end. He caught a bunch of balls whenever he's ready, but he'd have to be active to catch the pass.
And he doesn't block. He was active today.
Was he active? He wasn't targeted.
He didn't. I don't know if he touched the field on.
He probably just played special. I don't even know if he played special teams. Well, let's see. Did he play? He did not play.
He did not play.
Did not get on the field. Mariota and Okwebanon. I was close.
You're good.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Stoll and Calcaterra weren't targeted, so we'll see. Something to keep an eye on.
What'd you make of the O-line play? We should mention Cam Jurgens left this game with a foot injury. Saw him leaving the locker room with a boot.
It's not a good sign
on that right foot. Not a good sign, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's something major.
No.
Sometimes it's just precautionary and they want to get some testing done. But they would miss him if he's gone for any time.
Sua had a rough time. I mean, he's playing, some elite guys. And I think his first snap, Chase Young just kind of mauled him. But I think a week of practice, I mean, he's a professional. He's been around.
Do you think it would be Sua if Cam misses a week?
I think probably.
I don't know. I mean, Tyler Steen was
it
wasn't much of a competition, but he was getting second team.
It's an interesting question. Steen was inactive, has been inactive.
All 4 games so far.
Yeah.
I think it would depend on the length of an injury.
Interesting.
Yeah, like if it's a game or 2, then
Sua.
I go Sua. If it's going to be any kind of extended injury, I think you would try to get Steen ready.
Yeah.
Because I think the ceiling is higher long term.
There's no question ceiling's higher. I like Steen. I'm not sure he's ready for this. It'll be interesting to see. I can't really comment beyond that because of competitive advantage. But the O-line, I thought was a mixed bag.
Malata had a rough start, especially.
I thought he had a tough game.
Yeah. Chase Young just beat him on that 1 sack. Sometimes you get beat, and he just got beat.
Yeah, and look, they have some serious firepower up front on the D line. But again, I mean, how many yards did they? They scored 34.
415.
So they're over 400 3 weeks in a row. Yeah. It was an overtime game, but 23 first downs. Yeah, I thought the O-line was okay. I thought they were okay. Lane did a great job recovering that fumble. I'll tell you what, that was huge.
A big play.
And there was like 5 Washington players around him.
And that was Kenny Gainwell.
That was Gainwell on that stupid 3rd and 11.
Which is but that's why they have Gainwell out there, because they trust him so much.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's 3rd and 11, so he's out there thinking, I got to get 11 yards. And maybe he's trying to do too much, but that was not good. You think there's, I mean, look, Gainwell, it's not like Gainwell's been bad, but man, I'd like to see Rashad Penny a little bit.
Well, he's inactive in this game.
I know, and you're not going to have Gainwell.
I mean, if they didn't get him carries in week 3
when it was up, when Scott was out,
like they're not.
I know. I'm just surprised, but that's the least of their issues. Overall, I thought it was good stuff. I really liked what I saw from Jalen, and there was a point where they stopped really trying to run the ball. I would like to see him stick with a little more. What was Swift? Now, Swift had 14 for 56. He was okay.
He had one great spin move.
Yeah, he's good at that.
He's a fun player.
Yeah. I really like that one Jalen run that he had. He has longest run by far this year, 24 yards. One of his longest runs ever. Something we talked about. I was really concerned about his running.
Was that the one where he escaped?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great duck out, and then he busted it down.
Yeah, who had his arms around him? I think it was was it I think it was Sweat.
Yeah, I think so.
It was Sweat. So that was good to see, because they
haven't really seen much of that.
Few and far between.
Yeah, like a few plays like sidestepping, but never like we haven't seen him just avoid the pressure, escape it, and then pick up yards on the ground.
Big yards, yeah. So that was encouraging. I don't think the problem is his speed. I think he's as fast as ever. I think it's just I wonder if he's
been very tentative.
Yeah.
In the run game. And I think part of that is them telling him, hey, don't take hits.
I think that's what it is. I think he's consciously, and he'll never admit it, I think he's consciously, I want to stay in the pocket and make plays. And you look at the OZ touchdown last week. That's a play I think early in his career he tucks it in and runs. And you rather a 12-yard run is nice in the stats, but a 34-yard touchdown is It's better play. So I think some of that might be going through his head. And when you start thinking about it, should I run? Should I not run? That's when you're tentative. So I think he'll get through that.
Yeah, and he's making an effort to slide,
Yeah.
which is great. But then you get into situations where it looks like he's about to pick up a chunk of yards, and he slides at the line of scrimmage, and it's a no gain, and you go, well,
got to really,
it was a wasted down.
Really be aware of. I mean, because the ball's going to go to where you start your slide. So if you see the sticks, I mean, you got to run past the sticks and then slide.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'll come. He'll pick that up.
Yeah, overall, I think it's a good thing that he's
absolutely
making an effort to keep himself healthy.
Yeah,
I think that'll pay off in the long term.
Yeah, and when he has a game like this, where was passing stats? I don't even know, but it was like 25 out of 37, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers, which is huge. Passer rating in the 112s. That's the kind of passer he can be. And other than a 24-yard run, he had 10 rushing yards. So I can live with that.
Yeah, me too. Anything else on offense?
I don't think so. We pretty much covered it. We pretty
I
much
want to get your what did you make of Jalen's comment after the game that this is a win that's good for the spirit of the team?
Yeah,
some validity to that.
It's an interesting comment. I was kind of frantically trying to get my. You ever try writing 10 observations off an overtime game? It's not fun. I could see what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And apparently the message to the team after the game was about, hey, we've won now in 4 different ways.
Right.
Which is a good point. And this is great. This is a game where they should have won easily.
Yeah. I look, I think I know they have some really tough opponents, and there was talk downstairs on the post-game show that if they play like this against the Rams or the Chiefs or the Niners, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, or the Bills, they're not going to win. And that might be true, but also those teams can play poorly. But I don't think the league really works that way. I think, you take each game.
You're just trying to get through a day.
If you win it, you're 4-0.
That doesn't mean there aren't things that you're concerned about.
Absolutely.
Like, there are certainly a lot of things to clean up, but they're one of two, right?
Them and the Niners who.
No, I don't know. Cardinals staging a comeback.
28-16.
Yeah.
Of course, that doesn't mean anything to people listening to this game after the game ends.
I know, but they're getting a moment in time.
Oh, wait, here's a final. Niners won at 35-19. If that's right, people think I'm a genius.
Yeah,
I said that before the game ended. But in any case, the Gannons are playing them tough. But every team
Dolphins lost.
Every team has a game. Every team has a couple games that everyone was talking last week. This Dolphins team is undefeated. They gave up half 100. Every team has issues. Every team has injuries. Every team has things they need to fix and get better at. And it's just we focus on the Eagles' issues because we see them up close and personal. But every team has these things. Even the Niners, I'm just not sure what theirs is right now.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the issues because we're going to talk about defense on the other side.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Nicholas Morrow came into today's game with 4 sacks in 81 career games. Yep. Picked up 3 today.
Yeah, he almost doubled his career total. First Eagles linebacker since 1986 with 3 sacks in a game.
Who?
Gary Cobb.
Oh, G-Cobb.
G-Cobb against the Falcons. He was NFC player of the week. And he only had like 10 in his career, but he had 4. But Morrow's playing great. And he's been blitzing a lot. Him and Cunningham both have. He was our best defensive player. I think there's
something to the idea you can't cover, blitz.
Yeah, well, there's something to that.
Yeah.
This is a guy that Eagles cut a few weeks ago. What do you do when N'Kobe comes back?
I don't know.
Because Cunningham's playing pretty well too. Yeah, bad penalty.
Yeah, he's playing all right.
He's playing all right. He's
Playing all right.
The last 2 weeks he played pretty well.
Problem is right now you have Morrow at the mic.
Yeah.
Which is where you're going to have N'Kobe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like him at the other spot.
Yeah.
So he might just go to the bench.
But he might. He might. And I would assume there's situations where he'll play. But I mean, he's tackling well. I mean, he's an impressive kid.
He's going to have 3 sacks. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Who's the last Eagle to have 3 sacks? I think it was Fletch. I think Fletch did last year at one point. No, or BG. BG might have had a 3-sack game. I should look that up before I say it.
Yeah. You do that a lot. And then we just have like 15 seconds of
I was asking you. I figured you had
stuff.
looked it up, so it wasn't rhetorical. It was Dave telling me the last Eagle with 3 sacks in a game. And then you didn't do your homework. So
you didn't assign.
You had no opinion on it. And by the time I finish this, I should be able to tell you that BG had 3. Yeah, 3 last year against the Giants. He was the last Eagle with 3. And then Hargrave had a 3-sack game last year as well. Before that, it was BG in 19. So it's rare. And the last non-edge was Fletch. I think Fletch had a 3-sack game. He had 18 against Washington.
The Saints? Oh.
He's had a couple, I believe.
Okay. He did it against the Saints once, I think. Maybe that was.
You're right, in 2015.
Why do I remember a game from 2015?
But not.
What is wrong?
Not from last year. I'm the same way. I could tell you where I parked at the Fog Bowl, but I can't tell you where I parked today. It's just so weird the way your brain works. But I think you're right. I don't think you can play Morrow and I don't know. I don't know moving forward. I mean, it's not like N'Kobe was playing. I mean, it wasn't much. He only played a half.
Yeah. But they put so much stock and time into making him the mic that I don't think you change that now.
No, you're probably right. But they sure needed Morrow today because they got good pressure at times, but Howell stood in the pocket and they
didn't have a ton of pressure on him.
At times they did,
but
they couldn't finish.
Yeah, I mean, but there were some moments in that game where there wasn't much.
No, there wasn't any. And I mean, the edges now have 3.5 sacks in 4 games. Sweat has 2.5, and the one was when Howell tripped. And the interior guys were pretty quiet.
I agree with that.
Pretty quiet.
Yeah, I thought the line played an okay game. I didn't think they were very good.
The D line, I'll get you.
Reddick had that monster series. It was good to see him get on the board.
Yeah.
I talked to him a little bit after the game just about dealing with the frustration of all the attention he gets sometimes. And he said it's not like it is. There's a difficult factor to that. Like you really do have to not get super frustrated and try to just keep playing, but it has to be a little annoying at times.
Yeah.
We saw them get Nolan Smith an off ball rep. Didn't go great.
Yeah.
Nolan had an offsides too. Oh, what the heck? Why?
Neither Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter had a solo tackle. And neither one.
Jordan Davis had that one run stop, though. Did they give a split to him and Fletcher on that? That was really Jordan.
I thought it was Fletch, but I didn't.
No, that was really Jordan's play.
But neither one of them really stood out. 5 total tackles, assists, no stats in any other category. But it's not a great Washington O-line. For some reason, when the Eagles play Washington, both Washington lines play incredible. It always happens. They have a really good D line, but who didn't do much was Deron Payne, by the way. But we're not talking about Washington's defense. Yeah. He barely.
I'm just finally reading. I missed Nick Sirianni. I was back in the locker room by the time he went. He didn't really give us an answer for why they called offsides on Landon Dickerson. And offensive offsides on the QB sneak.
Oh, it wasn't his I think he just lined up offsides.
It's a weird call.
Yeah, it was a weird call.
I don't think he was. It's rare to call that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think his hand was.
The nose tackle was like. I thought the nose tackle was over the line.
Maybe. I don't know. I have to get another look at it. I thought he was. But anyway, it was they made a lot of mistakes. How many personal fouls on Edmonds too?
Yeah.
That bad penalty on Cunningham we mentioned. Edmonds dropped the interception.
So early in that game, they had a chance for that interception in the end zone, and then the ball popped out in the end zone. So before Washington even put up points, the Eagles had 2 chances
Yeah.
at a takeaway, didn't convert. And in a game like this, you think, well, maybe it's not going to matter, and then it ends up being super close.
Yeah, and I thought there were a lot of just penalties, mistakes. It was just a sloppy game.
Do you think the problems on defense today were more schematic, or was it just Washington attacking the weak points?
And that's a great question. I probably have to rewatch large portions of the game.
To me, it stood out that they were
I thought
going after Job, they're going after Edmonds.
yeah, they were definitely going after Job and Edmonds. I thought Howell was just better, way better than I dreamed he could be. Like, I thought if the Eagles stopped Washington's running game, and they didn't really shut him down, but they didn't really hurt him running the ball. I thought it would force them to throw more than they wanted to, and it would play right into the Eagles' defense's hands. And it did up until the fact that the Eagles' line didn't take advantage of it. But how many times did he throw the football, Sam Howell?
41.
41, and
29 for 41, 290 yards, a touchdown, passer rating of 98.6.
I mean,
McLaurin had a nice game, 8 catches on 10 targets, 86 yards.
yeah.
Curtis Samuel had 7 for 51, but he had a few to move the sticks.
Dotson had that bad drop.
Yeah.
That could have been disaster. Had a touchdown. But yeah, I wonder if Washington just took the Eagles by surprise because of how efficient they were. I don't know. Eagles have some issues in the secondary. I mean,
they do.
Like, I thought Slay had a bad first half. He bounced back a little bit.
Tough duty. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but that's his job. Tough duty. They certainly miss Maddox.
They do.
But they're going to have to.
They don't have an answer for that right now.
They don't.
The only answer is to play Bradbury inside outside and put Job on the field.
Job competes hard, but
he does compete. He's handsy. He's a physical player. I like watching him. But, if you have Darius Slay, James Bradbury, and Josh Job on the field,
who are people going to throw at?
And that's what we've seen so far in the time he's been out there. I think Reed is just really solid.
Yep.
You feel good about Reed back there. If he wasn't back there, this would be a much bigger story, the secondary. And I think Justin Evans will be back on the field when he's healthy. I think Edmonds comes off.
And Sidney Brown he might be back. Well, I guess Evans practiced Friday. I was surprised he didn't play.
Yeah, he came in questionable. Sidney was ruled out on Friday.
Yeah. But I don't know if that indicates Sidney. I mean, hopefully Sidney's back. I'd just like to see him play.
We all want to see him play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll see a mixture in the slot when all those guys are healthy.
Yeah, it's still not a perfect situation.
No, you really miss Avante. He's a good player.
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't going to change. Like, they're not.
Yeah, it's not like Maddox is coming back anytime soon. He's likely out for the year.
Likely, yeah, that injury.
I'd say very likely.
Can you keep running Job? I mean, I don't think Job was awful.
He competes, and you don't have another option unless you're going out and get someone. And who are you going to get?
Now, you're not going to find anybody right now, unless, in a couple of weeks there's a team that's 1-5 and you want to make a trade. But I don't know. Eli Ricks probably isn't.
He's the backup nickel now.
Yeah.
Well, theoretically, if Goodrich is the nickel, but he's not playing.
Right.
I find that a little strange.
Yeah.
Why do you have Goodrich on the team?
No, it's a good point.
Like, if he's your backup nickel and he doesn't play when the nickel is hurt for the year,
then yeah.
Then what are we doing?
No.
Is he just a special teamer?
I guess
but he's
so.
not. He can't be that valuable in special teams because he was inactive last week.
Right. Yeah, it's weird.
I guess they really must just have that much more confidence in Job than they do in Goodrich. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just like confusing to me that you built this roster with him as a backup at a position, and then the second a guy gets hurt, he's not the backup anymore. He's not in there.
That's fair. I mean, he had the one game where he was up and he played. I mean, they have all these corners. I mean, Ringo's on the team.
I mean, he's not going to play inside.
No.
I mean, maybe theoretically, if they continue with Bradbury playing inside out and there comes a moment where Job is struggling a lot, like maybe you would get Ringo out there instead of Job at some point.
Outside, yeah.
But I think that's really tough to leapfrog someone in practice because you're just so game plan oriented.
No, it would have to be Job would have to be that bad, which I don't think he's been.
No, certainly not. Yeah,
he hasn't been.
He's had rough moments for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I mean, he's an undrafted guy who's in his first year as a starter. He started, 4 games in his career, 3 games. 3 games.
Well, I don't know if he's actually started. They might have come out and.
But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I do. I like.
Did he start today?
Yeah, he did.
He did. So his second start today, technically.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, it matters. It's funny that it matters who's out there. The Eagles technically had Jack Stoll as a starter today. They came out in 12.
Yeah.
Didn't run a ton of it though.
No. So yeah, they just started 2 receivers, Devontae and AJ, and Swift at running back. Yeah. What was the question? What were we talking about?
There was no question.
Okay. I lost my train of thought. I was still on Job.
That's fine. You can still be on Job. Do you agree with me that Evans has to be the starter when he gets back?
No.
You would have Edmonds or you'd have Sidney?
I would have Sidney.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be realistic with what I think they're going to do.
Yeah, I guess it'll be Evans. I mean, Evans gets hurt a lot too. He's kind of Avante-esque.
I mean, he's missed
3 years. Well, this is the middle year. He wasn't really hurt. He just didn't have a job, but he's been hurt so much. I'd rather play Sidney than Edmonds or Evans.
Well, my fear with Sidney is they're running out of good opportunities to play him because I don't think you want to throw him out there against Miami. There's freaking track meet out there.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, kid. Go track down Tyreek Hill.
Well, I'm not sure how much Sidney would be on Tyreek Hill.
Probably one-on-one all game.
I'll take it. I'll take it over Edmonds. I haven't been impressed with Evans. He's been all right, I guess.
I think he's been better than Edmonds.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not an Edmonds fan. Jim Edmonds, maybe.
Good center fielder.
Yes. What else we got?
We talked about Jake Elliott a little bit. I thought special teams were pretty good. Braden Mann got off to a rough start to the point where I was like, maybe Aaron Siposs is better.
I was thinking of Brett Kern, and I was thinking Matt McBriar.
It was a rough start.
I was thinking John Telchik
for Braden Mann. His last punt.
Then I was thinking Sam Baker.
His first one was 34.
It was terrible.
Then he had a 48-yarder
but it was a line drive.
Awful. Like, no hang time. So after those 2 punts, I'm like, oh man, this guy might be worse than
Siposs.
And then the fourth quarter, 6:35 left, 47-yard beauty down to the 7.
Yeah. He might have saved his job with that punt.
He might have, honestly.
For real. I'm not joking. I think he might have saved his job with that punt. That was huge.
I was starting to think, well, maybe they'll elevate him one more time and then get a new guy in here, which might still happen.
Could still happen because overall it was still not a great day. But that last one, when they really needed it, he came up pretty big. His net was still only 38-3.
That last one was a big deal.
No touchbacks. How about Britton Covey?
Covey's feeling himself a little bit.
He's thinking, I don't know if he's thinking Pro Bowl, All Pro, or maybe he's just going straight to Hall of Fame, but he had a 20-yarder.
He looks good. Even on the one that it wasn't a big return, he made a guy miss. He picked up extra yards.
Like
8-yarder, that's a good 8-yard return.
He really did. Yeah.
And that's why it's so tough. It's like, and then it brings his average down quite a bit, but that's a good return.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's so tough.
He better be because he's my size. And
he's
getting thrown around out there.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see. I stopped getting tweets that he sucks.
It's good.
But
my favorite mic'd up segment last year was Lane Johnson saying it looks like a little prairie dog out there.
What was Devontae calling him? Chicken Little?
Jake Elliott. Chicken Little, right?
Oh, those. Oh, yeah. I was half listening.
Yeah.
Was it, he's talking about Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Jake Elliott?
Yeah, he's good.
He's so clutch. I mean, he might be one of the most clutch, not kickers, but just players I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to come up big in the biggest situations, and like you go up there for a 54 yarder, and I think everyone feels like, all right, he's going to make it because he's been. But that's not an easy kick.
No.
But he's 7 for his last 8 from 54 and out, which blows my mind. And he crushed it. I mean, it was like a golf shot. I mean, he said, I don't know the golf parlance. Is that the word parlance? But it started out at the right upright and just kind of curved its way right down the middle. It was like a Bob Sebra curveball. Remember Bob Sebra from Shawnee? Had the
No.
best curveball. You don't remember Bob Sebra?
No.
He played in the major leagues for like 9 years with the Expos and the Mets and the Phillies.
He played for the Expos.
He played for the Expos. Yeah, I saw him at Olympic
That's my
Stadium.
point. I mean, how long ago?
But he's from Shawnee High School. He's from your district.
How long ago did this guy play?
Seb? I don't know. Ice Station. That was his nickname. Who's the guy? Chris Berman called him Ice Station. Ice Station.
I mean, I've heard the name. I don't remember him playing.
He pitched from 85 to 90 in the bigs.
Okay. I mean, I don't have to tell you how old I was when he retired, but.
Well, he had the best curveball I ever saw.
Okay.
And that's what, anyway, what with Jake Elliott's.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, I'm sure all the Bob Sebra fans will appreciate this discussion. I think he pitched at Nebraska, and then he was drafted by the Tigers. Ended up playing for the Rangers, the Expos, the Phillies, the Reds, the Mets, and the Brewers. That's everything you need to know. But to go out there and attempt a 54-yarder, and there's probably not one Eagles fan that's thinking he's going to miss it, which that never happens.
Or player. Like sometimes, like the kicker, it's a weird role because you're on the team, but a lot of times you're not really on the team.
Yeah.
They all love Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
It was a fun moment. Jake already did his press conference, but then he was talking more in the locker room. Some cameras wanted to talk to him in there, and Darius Slay walks by.
Slay.
And just says, second most athletic guy on the team, which is like, it's a silly thing to say, but they respect the heck out of that guy. And it's not always that way with the specialists.
You're right. But I think of him as a football player, he's a great athlete. He's incredible. I think the guys respect his ability. He's an incredible golfer. He was a really, really good tennis player. We've seen him in that putt thing they have in the locker room. I mean, he never misses.
Yeah.
I think they just respect how clutch he is, and he's accountable. I liked his quote after the game. He said, I think it was at the podium. He said, I just like those situations. I always have. I'm wired that way. Whether I was playing tennis or baseball, I like being the last guy at bat to try to win the game in baseball. And I think you have to have that attitude to be this good at it.
Yeah, and I don't think you just develop it. Like, I think it's something you either have or you don't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he embraces it. And you could tell, I mean, when he hit those 2 field goals in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl in 2017, I think it was a 42 and a 46. I mean, he's a rookie. And those were really high leverage kicks because that's the GOAT on the other sideline. And
do you think in his head he still hears Jason Peters telling him not to miss? Like before every kick?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I would.
Yeah.
I
don't think I'd ever lose that. Yeah.
But, and he's a guy, I mean, we talk about Howie. I mean, Howie signed him off the Bengals practice squad. Bengals cut him.
If Caleb Sturgis doesn't get hurt.
If Caleb Sturgis doesn't get hurt,
yeah.
Who knows what's different? And then, then we're thinking, well, Sturgis will be their kicker once, he's healthy. And
nope.
Never saw him again.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen him after that Giants game. That was also his rookie year. 61-yarder to win the game. I was trying to look up the longest overtime kicks. But the stat head drives me crazy. They don't have by quarter in the field goal finder. Why?
That's weird.
So I don't know any real simple way to look it up. But really, I mean, that was a game. I feel like they stole this one in a lot of ways. There was really like 100 ways they tried to lose this game. And they won this game. It says a lot.
Yeah, it does. It wasn't perfect, but none of them have been so far. You win and you move on, and clean up some stuff, and then you can play at LA
It's a tough game.
next Sunday.
Tough game. Stafford's playing well. They got that rookie who's
Puka.
catches like 20 balls a game.
Yeah.
What do you have today?
I don't know. Let's see. I can't find the game.
9 for 163
He's unbelievable.
and a touchdown. My goodness.
Cooper Kupp who?
I think, and Cup's coming back, I think, one of these days, right? I think he might be back Sunday. That's a tough game.
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
Anyway,
beautiful 1 o'clock start today.
love it. Yeah.
Everyone was in such a good mood over there. Like players, staff, elevator operators, fans. Everyone loves a good 1 o'clock Sunday game.
Yeah,
and
it
they
was
have
nice.
3 all year.
Just not get used to it.
I know.
Back to the night game now, or a late afternoon game next week.
Well, not for me. I'll be in LA.
It'll be early afternoon. It'll be a 1 o'clock game for
1
you.
o'clock for me.
Yeah, not for me.
Kinda. That's all I really have. You have anything else?
No, I feel like I still feel like they haven't played a great game on both sides of the ball yet, and they're 4-0.
Yeah, they haven't. You're right.
And that's a good place to be. I mean, I have a list here somewhere of the teams that have lost the Super Bowl and start out 4-0. And if I can find it in the next, here it is. So there are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are the 10th. They're the 10th, but only the 4th since 1991. So
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often. The Patriots did in 97. Like I said, the Packers in 98 with Big Red on the staff and Gruden and all those guys. 92 Bills when they were going to the Super Bowl every year at that point. And the 91 Bills both did it. And the Eagles in 81 were 6-0.
Oh, wow.
And then I think they won. I think they went 4-6 the rest of the way. The record is 10 straight to open the season by the 75 Vikings. No, I'm sorry. It's 14-0 by the 72 Dolphins. They didn't lose a game. Yeah. But yeah, it's rare. And I think it says a lot about Nick's ability to, I think his real strength you still have your press box cup.
Yeah.
How did you brought it over here?
I just walked over.
I like those cups.
Yeah, they're like tin.
Yeah, they keep water cold.
Made a little Arnold Palmer, have some iced tea and lemonade.
Yeah, I like both of those individually, but I don't like them together.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I do think it's really hard to get a team up after losing the Super Bowl. It's a crushing loss. Especially because, I mean, the field conditions and the effect that had, the way they blew it when they had the lead, double-digit lead, they felt like they should have won the game. They could have won the game. I think to get them mentally in a place where they could start a season 4-0 really speaks volumes about Nick's kind of hold on the team and his ability to get through to them.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good spot to be in, 4-0.
Sure is.
Got to feel good. Majestic flight from Independence today, the Eagle. During the national anthem.
Yeah.
Good bird. Good bird.
It is a good bird.
He showboated a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
He got a penalty?
No, it's all within the rules here. He did like an extra little loop above the crowd on the far side. Yeah.
That's taunting as far as I'm concerned.
Landing.
15-yard penalty.
I think he was drawing it out because maybe the anthem was going a little slower than anticipated. So he made sure to make the most of it.
It wouldn't be the first taunting penalty on an Eagle today.
It would
have been the first. Thank you. I knew that was coming. I can't even make my jokes correctly.
All right, let's wrap this up. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. That's it. We'll be back with you later in the week. For Rube, I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. We will talk to you soon.